You're listening to the Family Discipleship Podcast.
Welcome to the Family Discipleship Podcast. We're here to equip and encourage Christian parents to lead their families. We're now posting every other Monday all year long. This is Adam Griffin, and I'm here with my co-hosts, Mrs. Cassie Bryan, and my wife, Chelsea Griffin. Cassie, quick zoo question.
Okay.
Pandas, tigers, or something else? What are you going to see at the zoo?
I mean, I love a good sloth
The sloth?
situation.
It's just sitting. Is it because you think it's adorable?
Yeah, it's just kind of like a slow burn, you know? You're kind of like waiting for it to move. When it does move, you're so excited that you got to see it move because other people are walking by and never see it move.
Oh.
So it feels like waiting for something and then getting to see it. But
Seeing
otherwise, I
something
choose
really
panda.
special.
I don't want to, you know, I think maybe the most remarkable creature I've seen was the polar bear at the Portland Zoo. The paw, like his paw was bigger than my head.
Massive.
It was massive.
They're
it
also
was
one of the most
majestic.
dangerous animals to people.
Yes.
You know that?
But I was going to say, it is something alarming about seeing an animal that could kill you just on the other side of glass. So I think I'd choose panda bear just for the enjoyment factor.
We got charged by a gorilla once, and it slammed into the glass so hard. I was picking up my kid like a helicopter parent. You should have seen it. It was wild. Literally wild. Just looking at us and then pounded the glass.
That
It
was
was
a good
scary.
reach back.
Chelsea, at the zoo, pandas, tigers, or something else?
I was actually going to say polar bear as well.
For real?
Yeah.
They're
You
majestic.
hate the cold.
Well, I feel bad for them because I'm like, there's no way that you're so happy to be
So
at the
true.
Dallas Zoo here on this
You poor animal.
balmy 100-degree day, and you were made for the Arctic. But
Yeah.
it's cool to get to see them. I feel bad for the whole situation, but I do like to see a polar
Yeah,
bear.
it's a little like when you see somebody in Arizona that really wanted a husky, and you're like, I know it's a beautiful dog.
Yeah.
It was not made for this.
Yeah.
Yeah. You feel kind of bad. Okay, I'm going to put you guys on the spot. You got to be
already
creative.
felt
Are you
that way.
ready? No, you're on the spot. If you had to pick an animal that would describe your parenting, pick one and tell me why.
Gosh, I would like to be a lot like our mini golden doodle Maroni, but I'm not sure that they would choose that. But
You mean
I
like
would
30 kids?
She has 30 kids. I wasn't really equipped for that. No, I just mean like she's just fun, you know. She's
the most forgiving, gracious animal.
She's fun. She's gracious.
Yeah.
She's very affectionate. Yeah, she's great to have around.
We were always told she was a breeder dog, and we were always told what a great mom she was.
Yeah.
She would like adopt other dogs would reject their
that's
puppies,
so sweet.
and
Yeah.
she would bring them into her
She
little
fostered
brood.
some puppies.
Yeah, she's a great mommy.
That's really sweet.
Yeah, but
That's sweet. A golden doodle.
yeah, I'd love to be if I was like that. Like, is just happy and energetic and affectionate, loyal.
Yeah.
I would love that.
So happy to meet new people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
and
I would
obedient.
definitely say dog, mostly because my kids would want me to say dog. But also,
Really?
I'd want it to be a dog that has a little bit of guard dog in her, you know?
Mhm.
Ooh.
Like a little bit of fight. Like my dog is not going to protect us from
Yeah.
anything. Like not a guard, not a good,
No bark, no
not
bite.
a bouncer. No bark, no bite. But very friendly. Also a little anxious when we leave her. You know, she gets anxiety. But a dog that's loyal and friendly, but also knows when there's a threat
Yeah.
and
that's
kind of
good.
knows when to bite.
I like that.
I want to be that. I want to also know when to bite.
Yeah, that's good. All right. Well, we're in this parenting
Well,
style
what about,
series.
no, you guys
Yeah.
a hook?
What's that?
What on
What do you
earth?
know? Well, come on.
What? You guys didn't ask me anything.
We are
We're
now.
asking
Now you're
you
yelling
now.
at me for not
I had
answering a
I
question.
thought we were all answering that.
Oh, okay.
What kind of animal would you be?
If I had to pick an animal that was going to be a parent, I think I'd probably pick something like an elephant, because I think
Tell me more.
elephants live in herds, and I would want to be in community.
Cool.
And
Very
I
Christian.
would, yeah, I want to be in a Christian community, just like elephants. They have souls, and well, maybe not. No, I think elephants are big and strong, and they protect their herd, and they say they have great memories, and I wish I did too.
Hmm.
So that's probably what
I
I'd
wish
say.
that too.
Yeah,
That's a
don't
good
you wish
one.
I did?
Mhm.
They also have big ears, and I wish my hearing was better.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot that I could.
A lot of aspirations.
A lot of aspirations in the elephant
The
world.
trunk also seems convenient.
Yeah, you can shower yourself.
Yeah.
That sounds great. Well, we're in the middle. We're now 2 weeks into a series we're doing on parenting styles. Last time we talked about some vehicles, helicopters, snowplows, and submarines. And we talked about parenting when you think the quality of your parenting depends on your ability to watch your kids. Today, we're going to talk about animals, a couple animals. We actually have several episodes on different animals in the animal world and how they parent. Today, we're talking about the tiger parent and the panda parent. Think about it as one who roars and one who cuddles. So today, as we talk about these, I think probably many of you are aware that Tiger Parent was a pretty famous book in 2011 by Amy Chua. She wrote, her memoir was called The Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother. And it kind of opened up a big conversation about tiger parenting. Tiger parenting is like a high demand, high pressure. It's aimed at achievement. My kids have to get straight A's. They have to be first chair in the band. They have to make varsity. They have to get into an elite college. It's driven by the quality of my parenting will be kind of measured by the achievement of my children. And therefore, I will demand high achievement from them. Cassie, when you were growing up, was there any area of high expectation for you? Maybe not even from your parents. Maybe it was on yourself where it was like, in this activity or in this area of my life, there was a high demand and a high expectation.
I feel like I just want to say I've never heard of this word tiger parent.
Which is crazy. Chelsea and I would both attest. This is a famous and real thing.
Yes,
I didn't make this
I
up.
believe
right?
you.
Yeah.
I think it's maybe because it was before I was a parent, so I wasn't paying attention to some of this.
Oh, maybe.
The book was called Tiger Mom, though, I thought.
Wasn't
it?
Well,
at
the
this point
Tiger
now-
Mother.
Yeah,
I definitely had friends whose parents had very high expectations.
It's called Battle Hymn. It's Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother.
Okay.
And
Way
then
to do your
Time Magazine
research.
did a thing on the truth about tiger moms, but it became
maybe
like
that-
a big thing.
I don't think my parents were this. I think that they had pretty measured expectations and they pushed us to do things with excellence and to stick with things. I do think they imparted and expected a hard work ethic from us.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there was like a high, like if you have a job, you're going to see it through. You're going to, you're going to be there on time, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But I think overall, my mom and my dad were pretty measured about the intensity, their expectations in terms of like us. I had friends though whose parents were this, I guess, that just had very high expectations and
Oh, really?
kind of lord those over them, expect a lot, have high consequences if they didn't do well, that type of thing. So
I think it's time for our listeners to know that Cassie is currently wearing a hat that says "Do Less." So I don't think that she had a tiger mom.
She's not much of a tiger. She's never heard of Tiger Mom.
I think
never
of maybe a
experienced
panda
tiger
mom
mom.
that wishes she
Let's
had some
wait
tiger
on-
mom in her, that thinks she's a tiger, but really she's a panda.
That's awesome.
Chewing bamboo.
Paint stripes.
Going nuts.
Sitting
I got to
around,
find a way to do even less.
rolling from one thing to another.
This is to preach to myself, like, hey, dial it down a little bit. I do think I have higher expectations.
So when you look in the
I'm
mirror-
hard on myself.
Are you really? So you think you're a tiger person towards yourself?
Maybe. I think I just like don't. Like I like all the plates. I just want to keep spinning, and when one falls, I'm pretty. My like self talk is not great.
Yeah, you scrutinize.
But that didn't come from my parents. I think that just came from
Sure.
my own sin.
Chelsea, let's come back to that, Cassie. I'm grateful for that honesty, and that's a great start. Because as two people who haven't struggled with sin, it's so good to have you on the podcast with us, which is
I
great.
tell people that's why I'm here.
Yeah. Chelsea, you were a teacher for a long time, and I know you ran across kids who had more of like tiger mom parents.
Big time.
And how could you tell? What were kind of the warnings? What were the red flags? Like, oh, this kid's got a high expectation parent.
Well, in my personal fitness class, sometimes I would have, that was only for kids who weren't in a sport. Because, in Texas, you practice your sport during the school day.
Right.
Because Texas is awesome.
Snap.
Everyone else has to go
Where
take.
I grew up, I had to do PE and learn all these different activities that I might do for lifelong fitness.
Yeah, no, we're not
Rock
doing that.
climbing
We're
and-
learning the offense during
Okay.
the school day. But sometimes I would have kids. The school I was at was very diverse. We had a lot of kids from all over the world, and but I had a lot of kids from Southeast Asia, from India, Korea, a lot of countries from that part of the world. And sometimes I'd have a kid who's real athletic that I'd notice in personal fitness of going, hey, you're actually really good at this, that, or the other. You should do that. And the response was always, I'm not allowed to play sports. I have to be valedictorian, or I have to get into an Ivy League school, and I have to become a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I'd really,
like occupational choice is a big sign of tiger parenting.
yes,
Is like,
I had a lot of
you can
kids.
be a doctor or a lawyer. Those are your choices.
Yeah,
right?
they
Whatever
told
your
me-
family kind of values.
Yeah, that they could only be a doctor or engineer. And one of those students actually told me that she shared with her mom that she wanted to be a teacher. And she said her parents freaked out,
Mm-hmm.
very worried. She said that they were just so worried about her self-esteem.
Oh, like she thought so little of herself
That's
that she
right.
could only achieve teacher level.
Right.
but that was not an achievement that was a high goal.
Right. And she was trying to say, no, I think I'd
and
enjoy it.
she's saying this to you, her teacher.
Yes. I was unoffended. I was like, I don't care what your parents think about my job. But yeah, she was going, no, I think I would enjoy doing that. And they were going, we don't care what you enjoy. You're going to be a doctor or an engineer. Those are the acceptable choices for our family.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know you saw a lot of that. And career choice is a good example. I also think some of the things we'll see with Tiger Mom, which I did not experience this in my own household. And it's not just a mother thing. We're talking about fathers can certainly be engaged in this level of expectation. Maybe the more stereotypical one is like, you will try out for the sport, you will make the sport, you will not quit. Or the dance mom who says, I know that you don't want to dance anymore, but you will keep going. Or we were talking to a woman last night who played soccer for a long time in her life. And she's like, it was not my idea. It was my parents' idea. And they said that they had to do it. I remember overhearing this mom and daughter having an argument. This daughter had to be 8 years old, and she was begging her mom to let her quit dance. And her mom said, no, you promised me that you would do this till you're 16. And she's in tears going, I'm ready to be done. Oh. And there's some of that where it's like, it's something about the parent's ego, or maybe if we're looking at the most optimistic version of it, that there's something the parent is saying, I think you will thank me later, but you have to do your best now. And by your best, I mean your absolute best in order to achieve my dreams for your life. And my dreams are one day going to be your dreams, and you'll thank me. I also see this like maybe in the culture that I grew up in kind of the Christian, like almost suburban culture, you got a tutor if you were struggling in a class. There are some families who get tutors to be at the top of the class. You don't get a tutor because you're struggling. You get a tutor because you're not the absolute best. They're not fighting to pass. They're fighting to be the valedictorian. They're not fighting for getting into college. They're fighting for the scholarship. You know, there's an achievement-driven parenting that can maybe even sometimes trample the kid's desires, preferences, skill set by saying, but the expectation is this. In our family, you will do this. And we'll talk for a second in a minute about expectations are not necessarily bad things. We're just talking about what tiger parenting means. So the response to that, the backlash, maybe the pendulum swing is what we call panda parenting. So if tiger parenting is the high achievement, very driven, high expectations, think of parenting as more easygoing. Maybe, Cassie, you might say a do less style of parenting. Yeah. But really, it's about like this warm, highly responsive. We're big on the child's happiness and preferences. What does the child desire? They have the freedom to find their own path. I'm just here to kind of support them. When they ask for freedom, they should get the freedom
at their gentle parenting.
Yeah, maybe gentle. But I think about it like a parent where it's just like, I just want to be, the reason I'm in your life is to be your cheerleader. The reason I'm in your life is to give you the hug, versus the tiger parent is the reason I'm in your life is to make sure you get the best, and you won't desire the best unless I make you pursue the best. Chelsea, you work with a lot of doctors now. Do you ever work with a doctor that you're like, I don't think this person wanted to go to medical school, but I think their parents made them do it?
Oh, I work with one who overtly shares that as her story.
Is that right? She would say, I had to do this and I wish I didn't.
She super duper wanted to be an interior designer, and her parents did not accept that.
Wow.
And we feel so bad for her because, you know, she's worked really hard to be a competent doctor. But where we really see her shine is around Christmas time. Like, she comes in and she has baked us so much stuff. And like, she loves that stuff. She loves to bake. She loves still like home design. She's very thoughtful about the way her nails are done, and it matches her glasses and her scrubs today and whatever else. And like, she just loves this stuff and had to learn surgery. You know, which she didn't want to do. Like I said, she's fine. She does great at all of it, but she's very overt that her parents said, this is not a choice.
This will be the option you get.
You will be a doctor.
Yeah. And I'm sure that's a common experience. I think one of the things that happens when we start to talk about parenting styles like this is you instantly start to make kind of like in your head a checklist of what's positive about the one that you relate to and what's negative about the one that you do not. So most of us hear the tiger and hear the panda, and we kind of pick a team. If they're truly like opposites, you go like, oh yeah, here's what I admire in that, and here's what I despise in the other one. Chelsea, before we talk about maybe what's redeemable or what's godly about either one of these, do you think you lean towards one or the other in your life? Are you more of like I'm an expectation setting, I drive these kids, or are you more like I'm more of like I'm here when you need a hug, soft and cuddly?
I think I have a lot of expectations for our kids. I think they're just not related to worldly accomplishments, if that makes sense. Which I think can, in my flesh, make me think like I'm better than someone who's pushing a certain way. But I think I do set a lot of expectations for my kids. I mean, one time we left our kids for a full day with a kind woman that we know who was going to watch them all day. And I told them, when I get back, it's my expectation that she's going to say these are the most responsible, respectful, capable young men she's ever met. And I mean, in the moment, I was like, I'm not really
no pressure.
I'm not trying to put pressure. I was just, was just trying to say, I think that's what she's going to say because you guys are going to do great. Because while she's here, you're going to make these meals. You're going to feed the dog. Like she's here to keep you safe. She is not here to wait on you. So like, do what you're capable of. But I kind of giggle when I look back at times like that. However, I would like to note that later she did tell me.
I was going to say she for sure told you you were the best.
And then I was very pleased with my children. You know, I was like, good job, boys. See, like,
yeah.
But in some ways, that's like your value system. You haven't valued the career position.
That's right.
You haven't valued the maybe
athletic
financial
situation.
achievement.
Yeah.
But you have valued something about their respect to adults.
Yes.
And there are some expectations that you would say, no. There are some non-negotiable things. You will not be a child of mine and act this way.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have a lot of those. I hope I'm not, nuts about it. But like, but yeah, I don't really relate to the like standard typical achievements. That just doesn't it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'd kind of make yourself like a half tiger, half panda, like a taiga.
Yeah. Taiga.
Like
I think you've got the benefit,
tiger.
both of you, maybe even all three of us, being around so many parents.
Yeah.
Like having been in education, myself being in children's ministry, like we get to see the spectrum and kind of the pendulum of like the extremes. And so it helps us to really, hopefully, stay middled.
Yeah.
In those two realities.
Yeah, I agree.
Seeing the qualities about both that are valuable.
Yeah, let's talk about that for a second. Cassie, what do you think is a valuable attribute of a tiger parent?
I mean, I don't think it's wrong to call our kids up.
Right.
Good.
To what they're capable of. I think it is wrong to underestimate what God has made them to be capable of, to do, and the purpose that God's given them as an image bearer. So I think that is a good quality to have. That's a good thing to fight for and to have high expectations for what your kids can do for the kingdom.
Amen.
And what they can grow up into for the kingdom.
That's good.
So I think that's kind of maybe like reframing what the tiger mom's fighting for, And so it's like that upside down kingdom kind of mentality. And it's like, no, I will call you up. It might not be to be a doctor, but it might be to be the highest integrity, godliest hairdresser in Dallas, Texas, or whatever it is.
Or to be more generous.
To be more generous.
To suffer more, to go places people don't want to go for the sake of the gospel. But calling you up, I think, is a great way to kind of show the redemption side of that.
Good.
Right.
Yeah. And I love that too, like, because there is an aspect of this where our kids may not want to do what we have an expectation in our family that they will be pursuing.
Yeah.
And we may put our foot down and say, no, I am literally going to call you up because I know you're capable of this, or I know you should do this. And there is an aspect that the tiger parent believes this is best for their kid that I would go, I can see that in me, where I would say, they will have to thank me later. They will not thank me now, but it will be non-negotiable. This is what we're going to do right now.
Yeah.
And it might be about an assignment. It might be like, hey, I'm not going to do this for you, but I know this is not your best.
Yeah.
So you are going to go back and you are going to try again. You're going to reread the directions on this science project and you're going to think, what else could I do to make this better? And it's not because I need you to do better than Jimmy in your class. It's because I know who you are.
Yeah.
And I know what you're capable of. And I want to call you to do your best.
Yeah.
You know? What do you think about for the panda? When you think
I think so. The opposite of that would be maybe a coddling, or setting the bar purposefully low so they don't feel like a failure. Rather, so I think then that redeemed looks like, hey, expect your kids will fall short because they're sinful and they're human just like we are. And so when they do, be a place of grace, remind them of identity in Christ, and that the banner over our homes would be peace, joy, love, kindness. And that doesn't make us soft on the things that are important. It just means that there's mercy when they do fall short, and we can point them to that, to the one who covers that for them, that they don't have to experience shame. And so I think maybe that would be living in the tension and trying to walk that tightrope between the two in an ideal world. Obviously, no one can do that perfectly.
That's really good. I think that's right. I do think both of them get something right.
Mm-hmm.
If the tiger is taking kind of seriously the formation of the kid and kind of the goal of the kid and where we're headed, and you're taking that very seriously, that's why it's shaping kind of the demands you put on the kid with your definition of excellence. And maybe you're also addressing their low expectations of themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you have to do that as a parent. And Scripture agrees that, doesn't Scripture say that children need training?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So if you're going, no, that's wrong. You shouldn't be disciplining a kid that harshly. I get it. There's a line at which it can become too harsh, but there's also a line where we could be too soft and say this kid is getting no discipline.
Yeah.
And then if the panda, maybe instead of taking discipline seriously, is taking delight very seriously, there's also something very biblical about delighting your kids, about not provoking them to anger, about being about when the shepherd is described in the Scriptures as something that Jesus is. Sometimes a good shepherd is described as somebody who fights off the wolf, and sometimes, like Luke 15, is described as the person who picks up and carries the wandering lamb. And both of those are aspects of the shepherd, right? And we'd say maybe the panda has a little bit more of the like, I'm going to carry you sometimes type of shepherd. And maybe the tiger has a little bit more of like, I'm going to fight for what you need kind of shepherd. But neither of them have to be like totally removed from warmth. Now, if you think about if we look at them pessimistically and say, here's what's dangerous about being a tiger mom, or here's what's dangerous about being, well, let's just start with the tiger. If tiger dad, tiger mom, what are they pursuing? What idol might be the thing that parent is pursuing instead of their children's best? They are pursuing what?
I think success and comparison, which is dangerous. Again, like Cass said, if we're calling someone up to say, like, let's do your best, or encouraging our kids to say, what is God asking of you right here? And are you faithful to it? Are you obedient? But if we're chasing something so that we can say it's better than other people, if we're using other people in order to kind of create a measuring stick for ourselves and say, this is where my worth is, then this is disastrous, right? This is idolatry. So of course, it's okay to want to be a doctor. It's okay to want to build wealth for your family. All those things are okay. But when we're driving our kids in a way that says like, this is where, like, sure, I love you unconditionally, but you can tell I have a lot more affection for you
Right.
when your team wins.
Right.
Mommy loves it when you don't throw interceptions.
Mommy loves a winner. Yep.
Love you all the time, but I love you more when you throw touchdowns.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a poor reflection of God as our Father to our children.
Amen.
Right?
Yeah, we'll come back to that for sure. Yeah, I think maybe the word I would summarize it, if you're talking about success, like achievement. If the parent, maybe even the parent's ego is on the line with the kid's success. We definitely see that in sports a lot, where if Jimmy hits a ball, dad is happy. If Jimmy misses, it's like, that's a poor reflection on dad's coaching. That's a poor reflection on dad's ability to be a good dad. That's where you put that on them academically. It's like, achievement is important, not just for you, kid. It's important for me. It's my idol is your achievement. Sometimes we'll even see that in grown men who get drafted or grown men who win the Heisman. They'll interview the mom, and the mom will be like, finally, now people will respect that my son is the greatest there is. And it's like, now there's love. Or we'll see Hall of Fame speeches where dads will get up there and they've entered the NFL Hall of Fame, and they'll say, see how it was all worth it. All those times I wasn't with my family. And by worth it, they mean I finally got what I really wanted, which was acknowledgement, affirmation, achievement. And when a tiger parent is so driven by achievement that they miss out on the kind of kid God gave them. Like, some kids are artists, and that's okay. Some kids will be teachers, and that's great.
Yeah.
Some kids will not be able to hit a ball. Some kids will not be able to keep time with music. Some kids will not be able to win at chess. They'll get beat by somebody else. And all of those are okay. They're not sinful. Sometimes kids will ask, or my kids even have asked, won't heaven be boring when everybody's perfect? Because how could you play any sports? And I'm going, oh, you guys have you've equated perfection with achievement. Just because everybody is without sin does not mean everybody hits a home run every time, or like every pitch is a strike. It is not a sin that I can't throw a ball as fast as the guy next to me. And it is not a sin that I might strike out sometimes. Like perfection, in other words, freedom from sin does not mean equal ability and achievement, equal strength in power. We don't all replace God when we go to heaven. We'll actually still be insufficient compared to him. He'll still be all-knowing, all-powerful, and everywhere. I will still be a person but I will be without sin in the culminating. So when achievement becomes the idol, that is dangerous. Now, for the panda, think about this parent who wants to kind of always be available for the snuggle, the support, but doesn't want their kid to feel like the expectations are too high. What idol might the panda be pursuing? What do you think, Cassie?
Comfort, probably.
Comfort for who?
Probably for both.
Yeah.
Comfort for their kid, but also for them, because they probably have a need for that approval in their kid's eyes. It's kind of maybe a mutual, like, I want to approve of them and I want them to need my approval, but I also want them to approve of me and don't want them to grow up to be resentful of me.
Good.
And so I'm going to just kind of hold them to a lower standard or just kind of coddle or comfort them, but also like don't want to have conflict at home. So we're just going to roll over.
We're going to say everything goes.
Yeah, anything goes. So we just, because you're trying to, it's kind of the difference between, is it a peacekeeper and a peacemaker or whatever? And so it's like trying in an effort to keep the peace or to keep the comfort of the temperature of the home turned down. I think maybe they're missing out on calling their kids up. I think it's taking what, even listening to talk about achievement and success, it's taking what could be important, and making it ultimate. And so we've talked about that, I think, before, but it's like, your kid growing up and learning and having a job and, being not successful in the world's terms, but being able to pay their bills. Like those are important things. They're important qualities for an adult to have.
Yeah.
But it's like when that becomes ultimate or when it becomes like a competition, they have to have the best paying job and they have to be the whatever. It's like life becomes this ladder and there's no end. Like you just keep climbing. It's endless.
You're exactly right. There is no end. And I think you're right too on the panda idol. I think if the tiger's idol is achievement, the panda's idol is approval.
Yeah.
I want the approval of other families. I want the approval of my children, but I just want to feel like this child appreciates me. Mm-hmm. And so I will do whatever I can to make sure they don't feel like I'm driving them too hard or driving them away because I just so desperately need their approval. Cassie, if we can be honest for a minute, have you ever caught yourself like needing your kids' success or needing your kids' approval?
Yeah, I think, being in ministry, we've talked about the temptation to feel like, gosh, I want my kid to have the right answer.
Oh, sure.
And I don't know that I would use the word need. I think, in the Lord's kindness, I've been able to detect when that happens, like detect like, oh, wow, why do I want that so bad? Why do I want her to say the right thing? Or why do I want the youth pastor to call on her to do this thing or whatever it is? It's like there's this own pride and me tethering my own identity to each of them and their own kind of giftings that I have to really kind of keep an eye on because it's like the tether grows on its own. And so then I have to be the one to snip it whenever I detect it. It's like, wow, my identity is actually not tethered to their performance. We don't need to have that tether there. Let's snip it and go about enjoying whatever it is, the volleyball game, the soccer game, the scripture reading, kind of whatever the opportunity is for us to like put all our eggs in a basket.
Yeah.
It's like, no, actually, I'll be fine if they fail. I'll be fine if they don't get called on. I'll be fine if they sit on the bench the whole game.
Yeah.
Because that's not what my identity is in.
Yeah, it'd be neat for church staffs to be like, the church staff kids are just like always doing what they're supposed to be doing and having like just
There's a reason they have reputation.
Killer answers in Sunday school and all of that.
Best behaved.
But that's just not always our experience. But I think that's actually very good for the church, right?
Yeah.
For us to present an authentic version of what's happening and also for people to be comforted to go like, nobody is knocking this out of the park.
Right.
Everybody struggles.
Chelsea, what scriptures come to mind for you when you think about either parenting that's driven by achievement or parenting that's driven by approval? What comes to mind either that's like a blessing or convicting or a call out?
In Titus 3, it says he saved us not because of works done by us in righteousness, but according to his own mercy. And we have to remember that.
Good.
That God wanted to save us because of his mercy, not because of something we did that impressed him. And we know that. I know that for anyone who's been walking with the Lord for a long time, like we can say that and we believe it. But we have a lot of moments throughout any given day that shows that there's still a part of our heart that might feel like some things are works-based and some things are conditional. But I think the more we can abide in that and rest in that between us and the Father, I think it can help us in the way that we see our children.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah.
That's so good. Because I do think, when you think about our Father being a good parent, if he was a parent who demanded achievement before he would offer approval, none of us would have it, right?
Right.
I was reading in Spurgeon this week, and he was talking about how his friend brought up, I have such a problem with Romans 9, his friend said, where God says, Jacob I loved and Esau I hated. And he said, what was the problem with that? And he said, I can't believe God would hate Esau. He goes, well, how could you believe that God would love Jacob?
Right.
Jacob was a deceptive, lying brother who found ways to connive in his family and take. And Jacob was not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it says God loved him. Do you have any problem with that? Like, do we have a problem with grace or only a problem with what you consider to be evil? But can you trust a God who's parenting us, not demanding achievement or else, and yet, like Cassie said, would call us up to something that is good for us? And that's such a kindness of God. But he also gives us instruction as parents from Paul. I love this in Ephesians 6:4. It says, fathers, do not provoke your children to anger. I brought this up earlier. And it says, but bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. It's like such a good word for both of these kind of parenting styles. Like if you're tending towards the tiger and you're like, and in that I keep provoking my kids, the Bible's like, hey, that's not great. We're not going to be the kind of people, fathers, who provoke your kids to anger. Like you're poking at them. You are driving them in a way that is unfair. And at the same time, to speak to maybe the response, the panda parents going, yeah, I never provoke my kids to anger because I'm just kind of always there. Whatever they want to do is going to be great. Whatever their heart desires, that's what we're going to do. It says, but do bring them up in the discipline and instruction of the Lord. Like our kids are going to be the kind of kids who do have a pathway, who do have discipline. Cassie, help us think about this. The difference between maybe having high standards for your kids and putting your hope in their performance. Like you said, we can call our kids up to something. Yeah. How do I know the difference in my heart if I'm a parent who's kind of hitting the shadow side of the tiger parent who's going, I need their achievement in order to feel okay, versus having a good standard?
I mean, I think the word hope is probably the key. It's like our hope is not in our kids' performance. Like we can have those standards and want what's best for them, and not, again, tie like our hope and our identity to that. And so there is a way to, I think, call them up, to train them, to have high expectations, and then say, but if they fail, when they fail, like it will be okay. Our family will be okay. My identity is still anchored in Christ, and my hope is in Christ and his return. And so I think that's probably the difference, is calling your kids up and then like working hard to like help them to be responsible, to be good stewards of the gifts that God's given them, the education that God's given them, the way, I think about they're fearfully and wonderfully made. So for us as parents, discerning what that means for them and their uniqueness. All of our kids, all of our girls are so different. Mm-hmm. Your boys are so different. So it's like, how do I call them up each, like generally as disciples, but then in the way that each of them are specifically gifted? Yeah. How do I call them up to like, hey, I see that you veer this way, and like, I need to call you into this. And then really go to prayer and asking the Spirit to do the work of equipping them to do that, and finishing the work that God has started in them. I don't know if that answers your question.
No,
but
I think great. I think it leads to a question I'd love to hear Chelsea answer, maybe as we're coming to a close. It is fun to win, right, Chelsea?
I love winning.
Yeah. And is it okay to encourage your kid when they have a good performance?
Sure.
Right? Of course.
Sure.
So how do I, as a parent, listening to this conversation, go, how can I want to be able to praise achievement without worshiping achievement? You know what I mean? Like, how do I think through that?
Yeah. In moments like that, I try, if I can remember, instead of saying like, mommy felt the best she's ever felt when you when you caught that ball.
Dad's ego was on the line and you really polished it up, son.
No pressure.
To say, I love to ask my kids about that moment before I say what I thought about something. And so just to say, how'd that feel when you got that double play? And just let them share. And then I love honestly, I love to say, wasn't that fun? Like that was fun to do that thing. You were practicing it and then you did it and that was fun. Or other ways to say like, that was enjoyable. Those things bring, I think, a good type of pleasure that is like, hey, I practiced that and then I did it. That's so fun. Not that made me more lovable, right? Mm-hmm. But I enjoyed it. And I try to say that to my kids too. I enjoyed watching you play or say, I like to say, I loved watching you do your thing. I loved watching that. How did it feel for you? How did it feel to lose? Recently, one of our sons played another team from his school that is much younger, and that younger team sure did rise to the occasion.
Hold up.
Well, they probably had a bunch of tiger moms over there.
Yeah.
They were the worst.
Yeah. No, I was like, how'd that feel? And it was great to hear from him that he said it felt fine, and that he feels like those younger boys will be gracious and won't rub that in their
sweet.
Yeah, and that he doesn't that he expressed that he has no fear that they would bring it up in an unkind way. He felt totally safe that at his school the bigger kids can lose to the younger kids, and it'll be okay. And so it's like it really turns the conversation to like, don't you guys feel foolish? I was glad I started with like, how did that feel? And then for him to say that and me to go, that's so wonderful.
Yes.
That is so wonderful. And just to lift up those qualities in the younger boys to say like, man, I love that. That's so gracious and humble. And it's humble of you guys to lose well. And it's gracious and humble of them to win well and just to get to celebrate those things.
That's good.
Yeah,
and I think in a similar way, you can be approved of as a parent. In other words, you can receive your child's affirmation without making that the worship of your child in which you are seeking to replace their deity. Or that your quality as a human being is on the line, and you'll know you have it if they say you're a good mom, you're a good dad.
Right.
And we know so many kids or adults now who can remember being put in a position where their parents were kind of fishing for approval. Like, please, did you ever think that maybe I wasn't the best mom? Or did you think I was like fishing for the parent, for the kid to affirm the parent in a way that really feels like, hey, you know what, Mom, I just need you to be free.
Yeah.
And Dad, I need you to be free. And now as the parents, we have a chance right now. We were talking mostly to parents, not to that are grown kids, but to look down at our kids and go, how can I be free in this relationship? To know that I want to make godly decisions that obey the Lord, whether or not it is what my kid delights in or not, but it is wonderful to delight my child. Chelsea and I would both affirm that there's been things in our life lately where we could say, man, the Lord really delighted us. We did not see that coming, but he delighted us. And we know he saw it coming. And we can look back and go, that is a good father. It's not that he's only good when he does things that delight us, but when he delights us, it reminds us how good he is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That he's kind and he's fun, I think.
Yeah. The Lord's into fun.
I'm convinced he's got a great sense of humor.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thanks for listening, friends. Next week, we're going to be talking about in 2 weeks, free range parenting. Free range parenting. What's the difference, Cassie? What's the difference between free range and cage free with an egg? Do you know the difference?
Oh, I don't know. The branding and marketing things.
Is it?
No,
okay,
yeah.
This is
I just
a Nate
buy the most
Bargatze
expensive
skit. I really
one
don't know
and
the
assume
difference.
It'll be the healthiest. No, I'm just kidding.
I have to admit, I did assume you would know.
Yeah, this is up your alley. You're the
What does
foodie.
that say about me?
You're the foodie.
Yeah, you're a foodie and you seem kind of healthy.
I don't know.
Well,
I
before
would
we
guess
record this next
cage-free. I'll
episode,
do
I need
some
you to look up
research.
cage free and free range.
Yep.
And see if there's a difference in parenting as well.
Yep.
Because I don't want to kennel for my
I'll call my chicken owning friends. I feel like that's an East Dallas thing. Is that the people don't have chickens here?
Oh yeah, a lot of chickens.
A lot of chickens.
We'll call our chicken people. Okay,
that's perfect. Well, we'll be talking about ways of parents kind of like completely laissez-faire step away to parent and what that parenting style is like in ways that it is godly and ways that it is not. So if you think it's as important as we need to disciple our families, please help us out by giving us a great review wherever you listen to podcasts. Visit one of our sponsors, share this episode with one of your friends. And if you want to keep up with us or join the conversation, you can find us at familydiscipleship.com or follow the Family Discipleship Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Episodes of the Family Discipleship Podcast will now drop every other Monday all year long. So we'll talk to you again in 2 weeks, friends.